Hello everybody, welcome back to the breakdown. I'm Tone. Always fantastic to have you here with me. Now I'm going to start off with a shout out to anyone over there in America that happens to, or indeed anyone on the list that receives emails from Tony. Tony has let me know that he will link to this video with his most recent update with the Noah VR update. So a big shout out to any of you that are watching. Thank you so much for reaching out and following the link to this channel. Some of the information that I'm going to provide in this video is for your benefit as well, just so that you know what's going on over here in Australia. So it's fantastic. If you're watching this video, thank you so much for joining me. Now, there's a lot to cover. In my previous video, I spoke about what was about to happen in terms of the lockdowns and everything like that here in Melbourne. And I'll just give you a brief overview. I'll give you a brief overview of what has come into play, and it's effectively what I did already say in the previous video. But we've gone into an extra 2 weeks of lockdown from this Thursday. Right now it is Tuesday evening. But from this Thursday, 2 weeks extension on the lockdown. But what has come into play now is a curfew. Now, tonight it comes into effect, but it's not going to be heavily enforced until tomorrow. As of midnight tonight, it will be fully enforceable by the police. So what I want to cover to do with this, though, is if any people wish to claim to be essential workers, they must have permits on them. We require permits. I do deliveries, just as a for those of you that didn't already know, I do the delivery service. It's mostly just food. So I require a permit to continue to do that. I don't know what's going on with the camera. My light seems to have changed. Never mind. Bit of retro for everybody out there. Let's lighten up our life just a little bit with all the dull stuff and ordinary stuff I'm sharing on here. So I'll have a bit of retro video. Why not? I'm not sure exactly what's happened with it, but anyway. We require permits in order to continue to work in the essential services, and deliveries are considered an essential service, and rightfully so, because people are locked into their homes. They're not allowed to go out. And then there's this curfew from 9 p.m. at night until 5 a.m. And if you are pulled over or you are found to be outside of your home in those times, you must provide a permit, an ID, to essentially give a good reason as to why you are outside of your home during the curfew. And it doesn't sound like a police state at all, does it? I just heard on the radio that a lot of people within, whether it be the high up part of the police or whether it be some government people, they keep denying that it's a police state. Well, I don't know what else you would call it if you've got police patrolling playgrounds. I'll cover that in a minute. Patrolling playgrounds just to make sure that mums and their kids don't happen to be just meeting and having a bit of a chat. Well, I mean, I understand what they're trying to achieve here, or what they sound like or want to sound like they're trying to achieve here, but it sounds like a police state to me. But they want to say it's not. And what I was going to say about that is some of these they've shown some pictures in the news of some of these parks, these playgrounds, have got fences up around the play equipment. Now, any children watching on the news happen to see a cage, a massive fence around play equipment. What's that doing to their underdeveloped mind? They don't understand all of this. I mean, do we? But they don't understand all this. If they're looking at that, what do they think? Wow, I've been locked out. Something that I look forward to, especially on the weekends, I can't do it anymore. And they've got no perception of time either. So, oh man, this stuff is really playing on the young people, and it's getting ridiculous. What was I going to cover further with that? The suicide rate. They've been talking about this in the news. The suicide rate to do with young people has been on the sharp increase. And of course, I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Young people thrive on being able to connect with their friends. They haven't been able to connect at schools. They haven't been able to meet friends in public. And there's a suicide rate increase. A guy was on the phone to the radio earlier today to speak about the fact that he's a coach of a number of teams, football and netball or something like that. And he has already had to counsel a lot of those kids to deal with 3 young girls that have killed themselves. They've offed themselves because they couldn't deal with all of this stuff. And we're not hearing about this in the news. They just talk about coronavirus. They're not talking about the cost on the mental health of everyone involved. They're attacking this virus, which can't be eliminated. But anyway, look, I get a little bit angry about it. Today I've been sort of putting off this video for a little while with all the stuff that I've written down here just to, what else was I going to say? Oh, a lady who I think must side a little bit more with the government way of thinking called it the Twit effect. Twit. In Australia, a twit is like an idiot. And then followed on to say, idiots caused this. What we've got going on, idiots caused this. And just briefly, before on the radio, they said this pandemic is taking its toll on the population, especially the young people. Well, no, actually, the pandemic's not taking a toll on very many people at all. But all of the measures that have been put in place, that's what's taking the toll on people. Okay? But I'm sure you get this. If you're watching this video, you're likely on the same page as me, but I'm just sharing it. What else was there that I was going to cover? Oh, I think the same woman mentioned something about... No, wasn't the same woman. Sorry, it was after that. It wasn't long after that. My notes aren't in order. A woman has gone to court to challenge a fine that she received. She was out exercising, right? So she was by herself and she was out exercising, and she had a sign about her person or on herself that said, get rid of Dan. Basically protesting against our premier or our leader of our state. But protesting is not okay. Like, we've had big protests over here and a lot of people have been fined. But this woman was walking by herself and she claimed, hey, look, I'm exercising, but I'm also exercising my right to have an opinion, and this is what I think. But they fined her because, well, you're not out exercising, you're wearing this sign, which means you actively want to be protesting. So therefore, you're breaking the law. She got a fine. She went to court to defend herself, and she lost. Make of that what you will. But we can't obviously have our free speech, and we can't say what we really feel or what we really think, apparently, because that's exactly what that says. What else was I going to say? Yeah. So I wanted to just briefly continue on with what effect this is having on the children. This is likely to have some flow-on effects. I mean, it's obviously already bad enough. I've covered how businesses are being affected at the moment. A lot of businesses are going to die as a result of this extra portion of this lockdown, and some will have already fallen over and died and gone bankrupt prior to this extension. I've already covered that stuff. But the kids, the children, the future, they've been indoctrinated through a lot of stuff that's come through schools in recent years, and now their freedom to have that socialization with peers has been removed for a period of time. And like I said before, they've got no perception of time. They don't understand, oh, I can't go out. We can't go out. Oh, we can't go to the playground. This is getting ridiculous. And what effect that's going to have on these young children's minds as they continue to develop into adults later on. Are they being conditioned to be used to this new level of control that we must submit to at this point? Is it conditioning? I leave that question to you. What do you think about that? Leave comments in the comments section based on what you think about that. Please feel free. Am I taking that too far? Well, what else was I going to cover? Look, I think that's about it on all of that. But I'm usually doing late night shift for the deliveries right up until 12, 1 a.m. When the delivery service finishes. But I'm probably going to stop doing that, even though with a permit on my person, I'm able to do that. I'm going to do a little bit more work during the day because I have a feeling that obviously because delivery drivers and then basically police cars are likely to be the main ones that are left out on the road after 9 p.m. come tomorrow and over the next few weeks. I don't really feel like being harassed and pulled over while I'm trying to do my job. Now, I know that that's going to have an impact if other people have the same sort of feelings as me and they decide, you know what, I'm not going to work under these conditions. That's going to have an impact on the ability for people to be able to order their food and get deliveries after 9 p.m. But I don't do this job because I need to have a huge amount of extra cash flow. I was doing it so that I had a bit of freedom to get out and do something rather than be holed up in the house like a prisoner. But it's really not worth it if there's the potential to be, I'm going to call it, harassed. Now, I understand the police are between a rock and a hard place because they have to enforce the law. That's their job. And this has come into law. Briefly, I will say this. The police commissioner, I think it was, don't quote me on that, but it would make sense, of Victoria, stated that they are just following the directives of the Chief Health Officer. And I've spoken in previous videos about the chain of command in our state. The Chief Health Officer can only advise the Premier. The Premier is the one that signs the documents that brings it into effect. So for this police officer, to say that it's based on the directives handed down by the chief health officer, I'll ask the question, who is the boss in this? And I don't think you can really follow who it really is anyway, because anytime it's asked the question, why is this stuff and who says what, who's laying down the law, it's, well, I'm doing this, these decisions are being made based on the advice. And then you ask the chief health officer and he says, look, I'm just providing the advice, but I don't make the decisions. So pass the buck on who's actually calling the shots. It stinks to high heaven. And just to close out this video, I just wanted to put things in a little bit of perspective, because I know I've had a bit of a rant about what's going on here in Melbourne. But I'm sure you're aware of what's going on in Kabul, in Afghanistan. What we're talking about here, even though it is an overreach for government control, that's what we've got going on here. Over there, compared to what they've got going on, we've got just first world problems. And we need to keep that into perspective for now. So keep Kabul and Afghanistan in your prayers, please, if you feel so inclined. Because right now, it's very, very bad. It's a grim sort of picture over there. And we're only hearing tiny little pieces of it because we're just getting battered over the head with this coronavirus story, agenda, whatever you want to call it. But over there, I don't know that there's a whole lot of thought about COVID-19. I imagine it's probably most likely just about the civil unrest that has sort of come to a head now. It's all pretty serious, and people are suffering as a result of that. So just to close out this video, keeping everything as much as we can in perspective. We just want to remember that we're still lucky we don't have to deal with that kind of tyranny. But we want to be careful to also keep things into perspective and not allow the current overreach to continue to overreach to ever get anywhere near what they're dealing with over there. And I'll leave that right there. That's all I need to really talk about that. But please keep them and their whole country in your prayers if you feel so inclined. Thank you very much for joining me once again. I really hope to be able to have some videos that are on happier terms, but it seems like everything I need to break down before it breaks people down is all just, well, the essence of it always seems to be pretty grim. Apologies for that, but I hope that what I'm sharing is of value and it helps you to just think things through just a little bit more. So thank you for joining me. Leave a like if you like my videos. Please leave comments. I really would love to hear what you think about what's going on. And I do read the comments. I will respond. And if you haven't already subscribed, especially to all of you over there in America and anywhere else that you may be watching this video as a result of the link that Tony so graciously has put underneath in the description section of his update video. If you feel so inclined, I'd love it. Please subscribe to my channel to keep up with the updates that I bring on. I try to do them every day or every second day at this point in time while things are pretty crazy. I'd really appreciate that. I do this just for the sake of other people. My channel's only small, but that's okay. As long as only a few people are hearing it and getting some value out of it, it's worth doing. So thank you for joining me once again, and until next time, I'll see you in the future videos, and God bless you and keep you. Bye for now.